for sale by owners. Let's forget about everything that we think we know, all the negative preconceived notions, all of that good stuff. Today, I'm going to walk you through how to approach a for sale by owner, how to approach the conversation over the phone, how to handle certain objections, what verbiage to use, and ultimately how we are going to close for the actual listing appointment. So first things first, we got to realize there are two things that we have to know in order to offer value when it comes to a for sale by owner. And this goes for any seller, whether it's a FSBO, it's an expired, it's a withdrawn, it's a referral, it's someone that you know, it doesn't matter. It really breaks down to two key things that we have to know in order to offer value to the prospect. Number one is motivation behind selling. What is the main purpose of them looking to move? Do they need more square footage? Are they looking to downsize? Do they want to be in a better school district? Are they looking to move closer to family? What is the main reason behind them selling? So once we have the motivation, we have half the puzzle. The second part is the financial goal. In other words, when we're talking about it for sale by owner, what is the desired net sales price? In other words, what are you looking to walk away from the sale with? We all know what your list price is, but we have closing costs. We're going to have to probably pay a buyer's agent commission, everything else. So what number are you looking to walk away from the sale with? So once I have the motivation behind selling and the desired net sales price, then I can be in a situation to where I offer value to the for sale by owner, which will give them the reason to say yes. I'll be honest with you. Most for sale by owners don't care who you are. They don't care where you work. They don't care about any of that stuff. The only thing they really care about is, can you help me achieve what it is I'm looking to achieve, which is trying to sell the home myself, right? And to maximize bottom line dollar, because they coincide with selling the home themselves and maximizing bottom line dollar. So it's not about commission. We need to take them off commission, put them onto what they're really talking about, which they care about, which is the net sales price. And so I'm going to run you through our script to give you a line by line breakdown as to how we approach the conversation, what verbiage do we use, and how do we actually close for the listing appointment. And before we go into the actual script, the first thing we have to realize is it's written a certain way because it works. It's a tried and true method. It's what I used myself when I was prospecting for sale by owners and converting appointments and converting listings. It's what agents on our team use, and we know it works. It's practical. It's very straightforward, and it's not the backdoor selling approach. We are contacting them to try and get our foot in the door to ask for the opportunity to list with them. Okay, so we're not asking for a decision. All I'm looking for is the opportunity. That's a big one. I'm not asking for a decision. All I'm looking for is the opportunity, and that's it. And so it's our job to communicate that well enough and offer a strong enough value proposition over the phone for them to want to meet with us to set the appointment. And it all starts with offering value, offering motivation, financial goal. So we got to find those things out. And that's what the script is designed to do. So let me pull this up for us so we can take a look at what script we actually use. So when we're looking at this, this is a very direct approach. Like I said, we are contacting these leads, these sellers, to throw our hat in the ring and to ask for the opportunity to list. So the first line, hi, I'm calling about the home for sale. Is this the owner? Great. My name is Alex. I'm a local realtor, and I was wondering, number one, when you sold this home, where would you go next? Not when you list this home, when you sold this home. That's why it's in bold. That's an embedded command. And you're kind of planting the seed, and you're also disarming them. Where would you go next? Now, the reason why that's question number one is because I'm immediately taking control of the conversation. So many agents who contact for sale by owners try and go into their pitch right away. Well, what you're doing is great. It's not going to work. You need to hire me. You're not going to sell the home yourself. You need to offer X amount. You need to do this. You need to do that, whatever it is. That is not the best way to enter into a conversation with somebody, especially a cold lead, somebody that you don't know. And so that's why we're starting off with this question, because one, I'm taking control of the conversation off the get. And number two, I'm trying to uncover your motivation, which is what we talked about when we first started on this, is I need motivation and financial goals. So questions number one and number two are designed to uncover their motivation behind selling. So when you sold this home, where would you go next? And some agents will push back on this and say, well, what if they say, well, why do you need to know that? Or why is that your business? That's a great question. The reason why I'm asking is because if I do have a buyer, I would need to know if you need time after closing for occupancy. So when you sold the home, where are you looking to move to? So one, I'm addressing their question, I'm reframing it, I'm disarming them, and then I'm going to ask my question again. So this is something else you need to keep in mind is whoever is asking the questions is in control of the conversation. So if you want to regain control, follow it up with a question of your own. Number two, how soon did you want to be there? So now I know where you want to go and how soon you want to be there. Now I have a gauge on where your motivation is at, which is going to help me build my value proposition as we move towards this conversation. So 1 and 2 is motivation. 3 through 6 is the financial goal uncovering. Number 3, great. And are you cooperating with buyer's agents? Are you willing to offer out 3%? So in other words, if I have someone who's interested and they want to write an offer on your property, are you willing to compensate me 3% for bringing a buyer to you? Whether they say yes or no, it's going to give you a better indication of who you're dealing with and how you want to navigate the conversation moving forward. And if they do say, well, yeah, I'm offering out 3%, great. So what I really hear you saying is you're just trying to save the additional 3% on the list side then, right? Yep. So now we've gone from 6 to 3 because in their head, if they're already offering out 3%, then we're only talking a difference of that other 3% on the list side. Number 4, why did you decide to sell yourself rather than this with an agent? That's a pretty easy one, right? And I'm hoping that they say because I don't want to pay commission. Something to keep in mind, can they sell the home themselves? 100% they can. The real question is though, are they going to maximize market value if they do sell it themselves? Because chances are and statistics show that they won't. There's a big difference between the for sale by owner off market properties. Make sure you use that verbiage, off market properties, because it is off market, and the homes that are listed in the MLS, just because of exposure, the quality of buyer, and the higher level of marketing that property is going to get. It's an eyeballs game. The more exposure you get on your property, the more people are going to get through the door, which is going to increase demand, which will then in return increase your sales price. So it's not a matter of if they can sell the home themselves, they 100% can. It's a matter of are they going to maximize market value? So if they do say, well, because I want to save on the commission, I don't want to list with an agent, great. So we're going to reframe that into something like this. So what I really hear you saying is you're trying to increase your bottom line as much as possible by selling it yourself, right? Yep. Okay, perfect. So now this is setting up number 5. This is probably the most important question on this script here, number 5. So I see you're listed at $300,000. What number would you like to net from the sale of your home? Now, this is a number that we need. We need this number. So if they say, well, I want to get as close to 300,000 as possible, or I want to get as close to my asking price as possible. Okay, I gotcha. So if they're not going to volunteer a number out, we have to throw one out to get an idea and a gauge of where their head's at. So let's just say a buyer came by and offered you $275,000 in cash. We can get this thing closed in 2 weeks. Is that an offer and a number you may take a look at? Yeah, I'd probably consider it. Okay. So not only did we just get them down from 300,000 to 275, now I know there's negotiation and wiggle room there, and I have a better idea of what I'm playing with financial goal wise. Okay. So sticking with that 275 number. So then we're going to plug that into number 6. Okay. So if I can help you net at least that $275,000, regardless of commission and anything else, would you sell the home? Not would you list it, would you sell the home? This is a setup close. Because the only logical answer is what? Yes. Well, yeah, of course I would sell it. You're asking me if I would sell it and get what I want? Of course, that makes sense. Great. So let's get together, see if it makes sense for us to work together. Would tomorrow at 5 or would Friday at 6 be better for you? So when it comes time to close for the appointment, you always want to offer out 2 days and times because that requires an open-ended response. If you just say, okay, so are you available tomorrow at 5? What's the answer? No, right? So you have to offer out 2 days and times. Otherwise, they're just going to give you a no. We need open-ended responses. And that's it. I mean, that's as simple as it gets. That's a 7-question script that works. And if you follow it to a T, it will work. But the main thing we have to keep in mind is we have to be able to handle the objections. We have to be able to close for the appointment, and we have to offer enough value to where we've earned the right to close and we've earned the appointment. And at the bottom, we just have key reminders here. So this is kind of what we've talked about when we first started this conversation. The two things we need to offer: value to set the appointment, motivation, and net sales price. We don't ever handle objections over the phone. So if a for sale by owner asks you, well, what's your commission? How much are you going to charge me? Our answer should sound something like, what's my commission? Repeat. That's a great question. It sounds like it's very important to you. Acknowledge. It'll be one of the first things that we discuss when we get face-to-face at our appointment tomorrow at 6 p.m. Does that sound fair? And then you're ending it with a question of your own. Does that sound fair? Of course it does, but it's not time to handle the objection yet. If we handle all of their objections, all of their questions over the phone, then it defeats the purpose of setting the appointment itself. If they already have all the answers that they were going to ask at the appointment, then what point is there to have the appointment with us? So don't ignore the objections, acknowledge them, let them know you heard them, let them know you'll make note of it, and it'll be one of the first things that you discuss when we get face-to-face. Closing verbiage, this is a good one you're going to want to make note of. If I could, would you? If I could, would you? So if I could help you get your home sold, regardless of commission and anything else, and still net you at least that $275,000, would you sell the house? That verbiage is actually embedded into our script because it works. If I could, would you? It's coming from an approach of an option as opposed to making someone feel like you're pushing them to make a decision. We want to phrase everything in the form of an option because the only way to get a yes is through voluntary agreement. We can't push and try and force it. It may work sometimes, but that's a short-term solution and it's not going to work long-term, because if you're forcing somebody to do something, their initial reaction is to try to find their way out of it and not looking for a long-term durable solution. So it's just a bad term strategy. You want to shoot for long-term solutions because not only do we want to do a good job on this transaction for them, but we want all the future business that's going to come from them as well. And the only way to do that is to operate through long-term strategy, which is voluntary agreement and offering enough value to where they do want to meet with us and it's not met through force. Okay? They can sell themselves, but will they get full market value? So that is something that we already touched on, which there's an article that NAR published and Zillow published with stats showing the difference between the two markets. And that's something that I would bring to an appointment. And I encourage all my agents to do so because it lays it out pretty quick and pretty clear. FSBO market is the off market, and the realtor community. Follow up 2 times per week. So this is a big note. The majority of conversion with for sale by owners will come through lead follow up. So can you set an initial contact appointment? Yes. Does it happen? Yes. But the majority of your appointments are actually going to come through that follow up. So if I talk to somebody on a Monday and it's a hot lead, meaning that they want to get this thing sold in the next 30 days, that means I'm following up with them on Friday and I'm following up with them on the next Monday. So if I have a hot lead, someone to make a move in the next 30 days, twice a week, every week, Monday, because I want to see how their weekend went. And the follow-up call is very simple. Part 1 is self-discovery. I'm going to ask questions that's going to help them become self-aware that what they're doing is not working. So that may sound like, so hey, Mr. Frisbo, I'm just calling you. It's Monday. I wanted to see how your weekend went. How many showings did you have? How many offers? What kind of activity did you have? You haven't had anything? Really? Why do you think that is? What do you think is stopping your home from selling? Okay. So step 1 is self-discovery. Then step 2 is you're going to revisit the previous conversation you've already had. And you're going to revisit the motivation and financial goal. So I remember you telling me that you wanted to have all this wrapped up in the next 2 to 3 months. Is that still the case? Yep. And I know you said you wanted to move to Clarkson. Is that still the case? Yep. And then you were hoping to walk away with at least $275,000? Yep. Okay. So look, if I can help you get your home sold, there's your verbiage. If I could, right? If I could help you get your home sold, get you moved into Clarkson the next 2 to 3 months and still net you at least $275,000, what would stop you from selling the house? Nothing? Okay. Well, it sounds like it would make sense for us to get together. Would tomorrow at 5 or Friday at 6 work better for you? And that's the follow-up call right there in a nutshell. Self-discovery, asking questions to help them become self-aware that what they're doing is not working. And then step 2 is to revisit the conversation, the motivation, and financial goal, and then create the window for you to close. It's not about commission. It's about the net sales price, your bottom line number. It's not about what you sell for. It's about what you walk away with, because that's a real big differentiator. If they don't give you a number on number 5 when you ask them what the net sales price is, we're going to offer one out, which we already talked about. And I'm not asking for a decision. All I'm looking for is the opportunity. So that is the script. That is the objection handlers and some basic things that we covered that will help you navigate these calls. So this is about a 15-minute video. Go ahead and watch this, break this down. But just know, it takes time. Role play with a partner. Write out the script by hand to help you internalize it. Practice your objection handlers and practice your closing. But the only way to really get experience and to sharpen your skills and to make this a viable lead source for you is you got to get real-time reps. You got to have conversations. You got to get embarrassed. You got to ask for the appointment. You got to get shut down. That's the only way it's going to come. So I would encourage you, if you're going to work for Sell by Owners, you should be talking to minimum 5, ideally 10 per day to feed your lead follow-up pipeline. And if you're consistently talking to 5 to 10 per day, you're going to have enough in your lead follow-up pipeline to where you should be churning out and converting at least 1, if not 2 listings per month. And as your skills continue to elevate, that number will increase because your conversion will increase. So I hope this was beneficial. I hope this helps, and go convert some for Sell by Owners.